What's up, family? Man, let me get some administrative stuff out the way first and foremost. Man, if you want a coaching session or a mentoring session, man, hit me up at ElijahAmmi@gmail.com. If you forget it, it's in the description. My email, just shoot me an email saying that you want a session, and we'll talk a little bit about what you want and what you're looking for, and we'll go from there. That being said, family, we have to grow up. We have to grow up. Man, my hands can't be still. I have so much energy flowing through me right now. This is a heavy topic. You know what I mean? This is a heavy topic. This is probably going to be the final part of our relationship series. Your gifts intimidate and scare them. You know what I mean? Your gifts, your spiritual gifts. This ain't gonna apply to everybody because everybody ain't spiritual. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of religious folks call themselves spiritual, but it is what it is. As far as chosen one, light workers, healers, and star seeds, and all the indigo children, all that other stuff, man, your gifts scare the fuck out of them. Your gifts, your spiritual gifts, intimidate them. Stay with me, we're going somewhere. I shared throughout the videos that I've made a while back how just some of the gifts that God has given me or that God has used with me as far as dreams. You know, I'll have dreams and a few days later, those dreams come to reality. God uses dreams to send messages to me. I interpret dreams. I have the ability, I'm an intuitive empath. I feel and I see your energy. And sometimes God allowed me to see the trauma that you faced, the trauma that you've endured. Okay? And that's scary to people who want to hide that shit. That's scary to people. That's intimidating to people who think they got that shit covered up, who think they have a mask on. And yet you can still see them. The real, authentic them. Man, past all the makeup, past their pretty body, past all the bullshit, you see the real them. And they ain't dealt with that real them yet. They don't know how to deal with that real them. And so they bullshit and fake the funk like everything's good, but you see them. And that's intimidating and scary to people who've become close to you. We got to grow up and understand this. And one of the things that I had to learn the hard way, everybody doesn't want to be seen. Everybody doesn't want to be seen. Everybody don't want their issues known. And when you have the gifts that I have, I see their issues. It has nothing to do with judgment. I see their real heart to heart, and they don't know how to talk about it. They don't know how to process it. And it's scary. Because sometimes they'll say, oh, you're psychoanalyzing me. And it's like, no, I'm not. I really ain't trying to. It ain't got nothing to do with psychoanalyzing you. It's deeper than that. You can't hide from me. I see the pain. I see the suffering. I see that little kid crying from within. And I see why they're crying. And that makes you uncomfortable. That fucks with your emotions. Because those type of people, they're so used to dealing with shallow, simple-minded motherfuckers that can't see shit past their fucking body. That don't understand anything other than smoking, drinking, and fucking. And that's all they understand. And if my language offends you, I don't give a fuck. This is a grown folk channel. We keep shit real here. You know what I mean? And if you don't like it, you ain't got to be here. And again, I'm not trying to be offensive, but I'm not going to change to accommodate you. I'm going to be me, whether you like it or not. And it took me a long time to get this comfortable with being me. So I'm not going to change for any and everybody else. And that was part of my struggle growing up. Having these gifts, having these abilities, and trying to be like everybody else. Having these abilities and trying to fit in with people that didn't have spiritual gifts. Trying to fit in with people who weren't spiritual at all. And them looking at you like you're a weirdo. Them looking at you like you're crazy. I've talked about it here a couple of times, how 6 years old, 7 years old, we're sitting in church. And this lady came in and cursed out the bishop while he was up preaching in the middle of a packed church. And you don't do that in a black church. You don't come in while the pastor or the bishop up preaching and you're going to stand in front of the pulpit and cuss him out. Bruh, I was expecting the roof to split open and lightning come down and strike her ass. That's what we was expecting. She fell out. Man, they came down, the bishop and all the ministers came down. The mothers of the church got around her. The deacons came around. Man, they put this white sheet over her. And man, her head went to spinning and talking about Satan is God, Lucifer is Lord, I love you, Satan, and all this other shit she was saying. And started foaming at the mouth and just cussing and just going on, just swinging and kicking. You know what I mean? And it took every bit of 7, 8 dudes to try to hold her down, constrain her. And this little kid, I'm 6, 7 years old, I'm sitting there watching this. The whole church was sitting there experiencing watching this, but I'm sitting in the back and I'm like really attuned to this shit. I'm like, oh shit. And so my little siblings and cousins and everybody else, they're over there scared. And so the ushers came back and told us, you guys got to say, in the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus. Keep saying that over and over and over. Because if you don't, that demon's going to get out and get in you. And so the kids and everybody else, they scared. And they're crying and all this other shit, right? I'm sitting, fuck that. I'm just like, I'm on the edge of the pew, just like stuck, just fix it. It's just like, oh, it's going down. After a while, this little green entity, it's like translucent. I shared this in a number of videos in the past, got up and walked up out of this lady. And I'm looking around because how come I see this thing? About 3 feet tall. How come nobody else sees this? How come none of the bishops and the preachers and the pastors and the deacons and the elders and the mothers of the church, how come none of these super spiritual people, so they say, see this green entity walking up out of this lady and walking down the aisle like ain't shit happened? How come me? How come I see it and nobody else do? And then he came and stood right next to me and was looking, our eyes locked. And it was looking at me like, do I see you? How do I see you? And I'm looking at it, how do you see me? And our eyes are stuck in each other because I'm not going to turn and look away because man, that's not, I've always been taught, man, the coward is the one that looks away first. The one that's intimidated is the one that looks away first. I've been taught that from the little kid. I told you, I grew up in the hood. It's things we learn. And so I'm staring at it, looking at it eye to eye, and it's looking at me, and I'm not going to turn and look away. I'm not scared of it. I'm wondering how the hell do you see me? I know I see you. I'm trying to figure out how come nobody else see you. We're going somewhere. We're going somewhere. I promise you. I promise you. It's going to get deep. And so as we walked, it stopped right next to the aisle where I'm sitting at. And we're still just looking at each other. And then it just turned and walked out the door. And that's always blew me away. I've had a whole lot of other incidents where I've seen different things like that. But that was the first time I remember seeing it. 6, 7 years old. And I'm sharing that because your spiritual gifts, your spiritual abilities are going to intimidate everybody around you. See, they could talk the talk all they want to of being spiritual and used by God and anointed and appointed by God and da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da. But you have been chosen. You have been handpicked. You have been hand-selected to come here. And there are certain things that God has given you the ability to do that other people can't do. And they're going to dismiss and minimize your abilities. And you're going to often grow up feeling fucked up and like something's wrong with you. Because you're not like everybody else. You don't think like everybody else. And so you're so busy trying to fit in and be like everybody else. So you start dismissing your spiritual gifts. You start ignoring and minimizing your spiritual gifts. You start despising your spiritual gifts. I've gone through so much pain as a kid. Again, I've shared that my father was physically and verbally abusive to the point that he killed my mama right in front of me when I was 2 years old. And what we don't understand, those of us that are chosen ones, that are star seeds and indigo children, all these other things, light workers and healers, that our pain, it's in our pain and suffering that where we have our greatest gifts. Let me say it differently. Because of my pain, because of the childhood that I had, the great pain and suffering that I went through as a kid, I saw my life as a fucking curse. I saw my childhood as a curse. And what God has had to show me was, no, it wasn't a curse. It wasn't a curse. The problem is you were trying to be like them, and you didn't come here to be like them. And there was nobody around to show you who you were. There was nobody around to show you the power you possessed. There was nobody around to help you understand your spiritual gifts and abilities. And so you took it as a curse. See, the trip is, starseeds, children of God, chosen ones, we have this natural, beautiful aura. We have this beautiful energy that just radiates out from us. And people see our energy. People are attracted to our energy. They're attracted to our frequency. There's something about that guy that I just can't go without. I gotta get close to him. I gotta be with him. I gotta spend some time with him. Why? Because they're attracted to your frequency. They're attracted to your energy. Oh, we about to go there now. We about to go there. We about to go there. And so many of us as children of God, so many of us as chosen ones and light workers, and man, we get in relationships because people are attracted to our energy. They're attracted to our frequency. And so they come and they get around us and they love it because it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel accepted. It makes them feel loved. It makes them feel I could just be me. I could just put my hair down and relax and just not feel judged and whoop it. Nobody's ever made me feel like this. And we're thinking they're in love with us, but they're in love with your frequency. Oh, we about to go there. We're about to go there. And it fucks us up because it fucks them up. Because after they've gotten close to us, after they let their hair down, after they became close and intimate with us, we see the real them. They didn't think we had that ability when they got around us. They didn't think we were gifted like that. They didn't think we were special and chosen like that. They didn't think we had any superhuman powers. They just saw our frequency and they just saw us as a safe place. They saw us as a sanctuary. Oh, he's going to protect me, and he's going to provide, and he's going to love me, and she's so beautiful, and they come up with all this shit. Man, I'm just so in love with you. Man, you're like my soulmate, and you're just because they're attracted to your energy. They're in love with your frequency. Not you. Not your gifts. They're not in love with you. They're in love with your frequency. And that fucks us up. Because it fucks them up. It's because now that they've fallen in love with you, or not with you, but with your frequency, they've fallen in love with your vibration. They gotta have you. And now that they got you, just dismiss the noise. Dismiss the noise. It's the distraction, just like life. You know what I mean? Just like these crazy ass religious folks in life. It's a distraction. And so they fall in love with your frequency and your vibration. After they fall in love with your frequency and vibration, they grow up a little bit in the aspect of, hold on, wait a minute. This is too much for me. This person has ability to see the real me. I don't want them looking at me. I don't want them talking about my pain and my suffering and my trauma. I don't even want to talk about that shit. That's why I drink so fucking much. That's why I smoke so fucking much. That's why I want to fuck so fucking much. That's why I want to watch TV so much. Because I don't want to focus on my childhood. I don't want to focus on the bullshit that I've gone through. And I didn't even say anything to this motherfucker. How the fuck can he see that in me? What the fuck did I do and say for him to see that? Now, starseeds, we've got to grow the fuck up, children of God and chosen ones. We've got to grow the fuck up and understand that, man, once we show them and we tell them that we see the real them, we see their pain and their trauma and man, the first thing they do is back up. They back up from you. Why? Because they see that they can't hide from you. They push you away. They run away. Because what they thought was a safe place, what they thought was a loving, nurturing, compassionate individual is really that, but so much more. Because they don't have the ability, because they think it's with their natural eyes. They can't see and they can't understand how the fuck did you go through all the bullshit? And I've heard this so much. Elijah, I can't understand how you saw your daddy murder your mom. I can't understand growing up without my mama. I can't understand growing up without my daddy. How did you grow up like that? Not having none of your parents in your life, being named after your daddy who murdered your mom, and having your family look at you and, man, you're going to be just like your daddy, and speaking those curses over you. And how did you grow up and endure being molested twice? How did you grow up being beat down by your uncles like that? How did you grow up and endure the hell that you did and turn out to be so fucking loving, turn out to be so fucking kind, so fucking giving? How did you go through that shit and turn out to be who you are? Because they ain't went through what you went through. And they're hardened. They ain't went through what you went through. And they're mad as fuck. They ain't went through what you went through. And they're bitter as fuck. They ain't went through what you went through. And they got this victim mentality. And they don't understand how you don't have a victim mentality. They don't understand how you could be so trusting. They can't see like you see. And they wonder why you have the ability to see what you see. They wonder why you have the ability to understand what you understand. Where the fuck did that knowledge and wisdom come from? They don't get it. They can't understand, man, how did you become so fucking deep? How did you become so fucking knowledgeable? You become this great mystery to them. How could somebody be so broken and go through so much shit, turn out to be so fucking loving, so fucking caring, so fucking giving, and have such a beautiful spirit, have such a beautiful aura? We got to grow up. And so what they do is they realize that they're not like you at all. They realize they were nowhere close to you at all. And now your presence offends them. Now your presence is an insult to them. That same presence that's so loving, that same presence that's nurturing, that same presence that's giving, that same presence that was, man, that made them feel like this was a safe place, now makes them feel like this is a dangerous place. I can't hide here. I can't bullshit my way here. I can't fake the funk here. Because no matter what I do, because no matter what I say, this motherfucker has the ability to see the fucking real. This motherfucker right here, this motherfucker call himself the chosen one. This motherfucker can see what I'm really thinking. They can see what I'm really feeling. And so they got to tear you down. They got to try to make you feel like you ain't shit. They got to try to tell everybody else that you ain't shit, that you crazy and all this negative, toxic ass shit to destroy your character, to destroy your reputation. Because you exposed them. And it wasn't that you publicly exposed them. You exposed them to themselves. And they didn't want to see that. They don't want to see that. And so now, they see you. And they want to hide from you. Now they see you. But they don't want to see you. And so I was talking to God about that, and I said, God, man, help me understand that. And he said, Elijah, it's like Adam and Eve. So what do you mean, like Adam and Eve? He said, Adam and Eve, they're walking in the garden. And once they became aware of the fact that they were naked and exposed and vulnerable, they covered up. I said, okay. He said, when I came to talk to them like I always did, they were ashamed of their nakedness. They were ashamed of their vulnerability, of them being vulnerable. They were ashamed that I could see them and that I had been seeing them. And so they hid. That's what these people do to you guys. That's what these people do to chosen ones, to light workers, the healers, the indigo children, to people that have this ability. They're ashamed that you see them. They're ashamed that they're the way that they are, and they don't know how to fix it. They're ashamed. They're scared and terrified because they don't know what else you've seen. They don't know what else you know. And so that intimidates them. That scares the fuck out of them. And so they run. They run because they can't stand in your presence. The shame, the guilt, the ego won't allow them to. And so they end the relationships. They do what they do to push you away and all that other stupid ass shit. To make it seem like they left you because you wasn't good enough for them. When in reality, they know that they weren't good enough for you. And that's part of the shame. That's part of the guilt. That's part of the confusion that they're how the fuck can this person know so much about me and still be so fucking nice to me? How the fuck can this person know so much and see me and be so in love with me? And I don't even like me. I don't even love me. How the fuck can they love me? Why the fuck do they love me? When I've been broken and damaged and fucked over like this. And they can't understand that. They can't understand you being the way that you are. And so they tell everybody that you're a fake. You're a fraud. You're not perfect. They start trying to come up with all this shit to change the subject, to change the narrative. And the narrative is, you see them for who they are. You love them still. You accept them and embrace them as they are. And they can't accept that. They can't understand that. And so they break your heart. They leave you. Or they start doing the most to make you leave them. When all you wanted to do was just love them. Man, we have to grow up. And we have to understand as children of God, real children of God, as light workers and healers and starseeds and chosen ones. We look at our childhood as a curse. But it's not. We looked at our abilities as a curse. We looked at our gifts as a curse because it made us different. And we didn't want to be different. We wanted to fit in. We wanted to be like everybody else. Because we didn't understand. We didn't come here to be like everybody else. We didn't come here to fit in. We came here to be a beacon of hope, a beacon of love, a beacon of light. And everybody don't want to be in the light. Everybody don't want the light on because they like living in the darkness. They like living in the chaos because they're comfortable there. And believe it or not, there's a lot of them that are addicted to the drama. It is what it is. And it's going to be what it's going to be. And we have to grow up. Man, family, this has been a long series. Again, if you're interested in a coaching or mentoring session, shoot me an email at ElijahAmmi@gmail.com. And we'll get that set up for you. Thank you guys for being here with me. Namaste. The God in me sees, recognizes, acknowledges, and cherishes the God in each and every one of you. You can't hide. You didn't come here to hide. You came here to grow. You came here to heal. Happy healing. Peace.